How has your understanding of inner game evolved over the years, and what experiences influenced that evolution?
I think when I first came to Jesus and accepted his precious blood and it washed away my sins, that's what did it for me.
It's actually a really good question. How would you understand? It really is.
For me, the biggest part is learning meditation. Vipassana meditation has changed my entire perception of what it is to be human and how to walk through the world in a way that's reasonably compassionate and not take my shit out on other people. That's the biggest thing for me. NLP and hypnosis were the first, but then learning to do insight meditation, Vipassana meditation is what did it for me. Ice just went somewhere.
It's
I don't
gone
know
to the
where he.
toilet.
I think it's our show now. Welcome to the God Emperor of Dune Ross Jeffries show. We have with us Daniel and Michael. They are about to light incense on their altar for me and kowtow to my image. And I would rather get a bank wire transfer. So I will give you my account. I'm going to
Yeah,
type it
send me
in.
a PayPal and I'll send you a fiver.
Okay. Send me a quid, 5 quid. When did Haley get married?
I think it was it was either just after the lockdowns or just before it.
How did she meet this guy? Because I remember she had just, when I saw her in 2010 or something, she had just had a real psychopath run her through the ringer.
Yeah, she certainly had some interesting boyfriends over the years. And I know because I was there during most of them that she'd dated. But she'd met her husband through the gym. So they were both going to the same gym together, doing the same classes, and the gym was pretty much like round the corner from where she was living, and
Do you know who's
they met
really
that way.
good? Who's a really good female coach? Her name is Lily Walford. Have you heard of Lily?
That the name rings a bell,
Lily
but I'd
teaches
have to see a
behavioral
face
pro
of her.
Lily teaches behavioral profiling that she learned from my friend Chase Hughes. So you can behavioral profile the person who you're dating. Very interesting shit and do deception detection and interrogation techniques without seeming like an interrogation. It's really unusual and interesting stuff.
Well, Joe, I used to be really naughty. Certainly in my sort of earlier years with doing the pickup stuff or being really into it, I used to be quite into creating anchors. So after I'd slept with a girl, I'd kind of created an anchor that if I touched them on the back of the arm, that they would have an orgasm. So if we were going out and having like a date during the day, or if we just went out shopping and stuff, I'd just sort of touch them on the arm, and then they just sort of like have this like like flustery sort of.
Wait. You mean females orgasm and it's important?
Who would have thought, or who would have
Who would have
suspected it,
cared?
right? But that's going back of quite a few years, if anything. But yeah, that's how Haley met her husband.
Well, that's great. Good for her. Give her my regards. I have 10 more minutes because I need to meditate and clean up my house. I haven't meditated yet today, and I really need my practice.
Actually, I have a question about with your meditation because
Yes.
you said as well that you do or you've done your Vipassana stuff
Yeah,
as well. Um,
that is meditation.
is that what you're also going to do
Yeah.
in 10 minutes time? Okay, so that's your go
That's
to.
my style. I don't do mantra japa, which is repeating a mantra. Vipassana is a whole nother topic to get into. I suggest you check out the work of my teacher, Shinzen, Shinzen.
That name does sound familiar, actually.
Shinzen Young, Young.
Okay.
He is the God Emperor of meditation.
Yeah. What drew you to doing Vipassana?
I had an interview of Ross. I love it. Ice, you can step in
That's
anytime.
my bucket list completed now.
What did you? That's a long story. I had a friend who was having a lot of back pain, and I don't know how I got introduced to it, but I was taking classes with Shinzen's senior student, Stephanie, at the time. And I said, does Shinzen have anything for physical pain? And she said, yeah, he's got this book. And I don't know if she gave me or I bought it. I don't remember. It's called Breakthrough Pain. And it was so brilliant. It was like when my mind blossomed open when I read my first NLP book that really hit home for me, Frogs and the Princes, the other one, Transformations. It was so brilliant that I thought, wow, I need to study this work. And so that's how I got involved with it. I went to one of his retreats, and that's how I got into it. It helped me get through the death of my mother in 2006, the death of my father, the end of a 16-year business relationship. And when I stick to it, I do it in the mornings. Again, today I did not, nor did I yesterday. It makes me, it gives me very, very, very small micro hits of happiness beyond human understanding and happiness independent of my conditions and circumstances, which is a huge thing. I definitely have goals to reach more people and have more money and all the rest of it. And my major outcome in life is to have a great relationship with suffering, because life is filled with it. We're going to lose people. People we love will get very ill, will get very ill. And so NLP and the rest of it provided me solutions to the small sufferings of life, but the big S's of life, constant change, losing people, losing our faculties, it never provided answers for that. And Vipassana doesn't really answer it in the sense that we get to avoid it, but it does teach us how to go through it in a way that's more skillful. And
Mm.
it's just a great thing for me.
For all you guys, can you share a moment when your inner game was truly tested and how you navigated it
You mean in life or just with women?
in life?
Again, my mother died of liver cancer. She was demented before she went. My father died. I was very close to both of them. I still consider them to be my best friends, or two of my best friends. Ending that, oh God, that business divorce was horrible. And just general, I have, I don't like to say I have bipolar disorder. I manage the bipolar experience, and the meditation is about one-fourth of how I manage my moods. I have to do things every day to stay on top of my moods that other people who don't manage the disorder don't have to do. I'm not saying everyone doesn't have their shit. Everyone has their shit, but I have an extra layer that I deal with. And the women I date, when I tell them, like 6 weeks in, they said, "You're joking, right? I don't see, there's no way I would know. Your moods are completely, I mean, sometimes you're a little bit out there more than usual." I have it very well managed because, and one of the big pieces is doing the meditation practice. Otherwise, I'd be fucked.
What about you, other guys?
Um, well, I think for me, in fact, I find that quite admirable because I've worked with other coaches as well who I think I've really just kind of discovered that everyone has problems of sorts going on in their lives. And I think for me, it's fascinating actually just how well you found a structure that works for you. And in fact, I know it's sort of not answering your question, but I'd actually be quite curious to know um, if there was an order with things for guys to actually work on their inner game with the I suppose with the knowledge that you picked up and the skills that you picked up, what kind of chronological order would you suggest to guys? Would you be saying
Meditate,
like,
meditate, do the right kind of therapy. I've been through years of therapy. The only kind that ever helped me was dialectical behavior therapy.
oh,
Hypnotherapy is
interesting.
great. It didn't particularly work for my issues, but I think one of the things that's missing in men and women is emotional regulation. Uh,
Mm.
a lot women more so than men. I think that's what we call crazy. It is crazy, but it's also emotional regulation issues. So to emotionally regulate, I learned, I went through 2 years of dialectical behavior therapy. There's another kind of therapy called ACT therapy, acceptance commitment therapy, that's really, really good. So I went through a couple of years of therapy. a daily practice of meditation, uh, hypnosis and hypnosis and creative visualization, gratitude practice, taking care of my exercise, my sleep, what I eat, making sure I socialize properly. There's a lot of elements that go into this. And if I leave
Mm,
out any one of them for more than 2 days, I start to and medication. I take meds. I make no bones of it. I've talked about it publicly, and people say, if you know all this stuff, why do you need meds? Well, bipolar has been shown to be a chemical shift in the brain. All I can tell you is without the proper medication, I came within 3 weeks of killing myself. I would have killed myself for sure had I not. I actually committed myself for a 72-hour hold. And they didn't help me at all. They just drugged me up to make sure I didn't off myself. But
mm.
subsequent to that, I got the right medication. I found a psychiatrist who I wasn't sleeping. I went for 2 years without sleeping normally. I had a torrid affair with a Danish girl who fucked me senseless. And she agitated me so much because there was so much anger in her sex. And that it kept me from sleeping. It triggered a 2 year manic episode. Uh,
Wow.
so I don't know why I'm going into all this. It's
No,
you know,
but I honestly, I think that's really commendable. I mean, with what we were saying before about really what guys need to be hearing is that it's absolutely okay to be getting this kind of support and help, whether it be with having medication, if it helps you to socialize and be comfortable in your own skin, then so be it. You know, each to their own. I think that's incredibly commendable
well, we
that
have
you are
fat
speaking about
shaming.
that.
We have fat shaming, and now, but the big shaming is shaming. We
Mm.
shame people's psyche if it's not together. I just came up with that. I haven't even had my afternoon coffee, and I came up with that. So I give myself a pat on the back. On that note, I really do need to go meditate for do my 30 minutes. And thanks for inviting me, Ice. Michael was on my show. Good to have you on the show. Give my regards to Haley and
I will.
Ice. Happy Hanukkah, my man.
Thanks. Glad to have you here. It's
Always a pleasure.
some beautiful stuff. Alrighty. What was I thinking of? It's a shame that I didn't get to say this while Ross was still here. But I previously interviewed a doctor of psychology at McGill University. He was invited onto this show. Maybe he was going to come in the second half. Not sure if he's running late or if he's no longer able to make it. He was kind of 50-50. University professors are pretty busy, but he kind of opened my eyes on how men specifically can have a more effective psychotherapy, because this is what he specializes in, mental health, and yeah, basically just mental health. And what he described was that for men, it is way more valuable and effective to have psychotherapy shoulder to shoulder, in the sense that if you go fishing with other men, or if you're doing a woodwork workshop kind of thing, where there's an end result, but you're building something side by side or spending some time side by side, whether that's walking, fishing, several other examples out there. That appears to be the most beneficial psychotherapy for men. And there's some evolutionary biology reasons behind that, such as hunting. We don't hunt anymore, or most of us don't. But that was a side by side thing. Not to say that depression never existed 10,000 years ago, but that kind of opened my eyes a lot, because that made a lot of sense. I'm no expert on mental health myself. I have a one of my close friends and someone I really looked up to, uh, committed suicide nearly 10 years ago now. Um, and he had depression. But I always get a bunch of questions from the people who kind of like know him and then find me through the charity I run with his mother or mutual connections and whatever. They kind of ask me what my mental state is like if I ever experience depression. Or a lot of it is because they themselves experience depression, and because I'm co-running the depression-based charity, I might know some answers, but my perspective is oddly different. I have never dealt with depression, but what I have had is kind of the opposite. And this is kind of confirmed by the doctor I interviewed. I always had a very strong sense of purpose, and that is what was able to get me through pretty much everything. So I always turned to purpose, and thus maybe that's why I never fell victim to depression or any of these other things. Maybe there are biological factors. I don't know. However, one thing did happen 2 years ago to this month. My wife was diagnosed with brain cancer, and a very dangerous type, grade 3 anaplastic astrocytoma brain cancer, which kills 73% of people in the first 2 years. It has now been 2 years, so this month it kind of hits. I'm not really, I would like to say I'm not really emotionally affected by it, but um, it's on my mind this month because I know that it's 2 years now. But at
Yeah,
the
it's that
same time,
anniversary of it. Yeah.
yeah, there's the gratitude that, well, she's still here for the time being. And after 5 years, 80% of people fall victim to it, leaving only 20% of survivors. Um, I looked at all kinds of studies, and I don't think anyone lives beyond 10 years. I would love to find any information on that if there is. I couldn't find anything. But yeah, essentially that's what I've been kind of going through, or my wife has been going through that. But we're a family. We have a daughter together. She's my wife, so of course it's something very personal to me too.
Mm.
However, my reaction to it, um, was because first wasn't the diagnosis, it was actual brain surgery. She was hospitalized. She had a stroke. Her arm stopped working. She couldn't smile on one side of the face.
Oh.
And
If you don't mind me
like,
asking, how old is she?
now 35. Yeah,
Right, okay.
35. Yeah. And yeah, it's quite rare to get it this young too. It's like almost middle aged, but
Yeah.
it's very rare to get this the younger you go. I know there was someone who was, I think, the COO of uh, one branch of Google, friend of mine, and his daughter had brain cancer when she was 4 or 5 years old or something ridiculously young, and she survived. So that was kind of like inspiring for me to hear after a good few months without knowing that. But essentially, she had a stroke. Then she got rushed into brain surgery after 1 week, super fucking quick. It was kind of scary that after during brain surgery, it'll be 8 or 12 hours long awake brain surgery. And as I keep saying, that's something that really kind of irks me because I always recognize that my greatest asset is literally my brain. So like that, I couldn't bear the greatest thing taken away from me. Like if my brain was taken away from me, I'll be dead. But um, as a very high IQ person, I always valued my brain, my intelligence, that kind of thing. So it's like a little bit of irony in there. My reaction to it was not a bad reaction. Instead of sitting at home doing nothing, worrying about it or whatever, because I can't be in there during brain surgery, that'll be distracting to all the doctors, the surgeons, whatever. But I went on doing a YouTube video with Michael Sartain and Rollo Tomasi. I interviewed Rollo Tomasi for the first time, who's the father of Red Pill, basically. And while I'm not really too familiar with red pill even to this day, I use that as an opportunity to catapult myself into taking more action on YouTube. And a few weeks back, I celebrated 10,000 subscribers. When my wife had brain surgery that day, I had something like 2,500 subscribers or something. So I have multiplied the following by four on, and that's just YouTube alone. And there are various other achievements that I had since then. And my mindset was I should go all in now because this is the best opportunity to do it. I can't just sit here and do nothing. It's everything or nothing, and I better do something now. That's just like the plainest way to put it. But essentially, there's that. So yeah, that's what my wife is suffering from. It is a terminal illness. It comes with a lot of uncertainty. So that can be quite concerning. But at the same time, I have to recognize as a father and as a husband, I have to do whatever is best for the family. And that is not caving in. Well, that's not in my personality anyway, but and not to sound disrespectful or anything, but it's my job to push forward whatever challenges we can face. Whether I'm surrounded by fire, I get a problem-solving personality, so I'll just deal with it, whatever the problem is. And if the problem is that my wife has a terminal illness, then that makes things difficult for all of us. So therefore, I should work harder, try to increase my income so that my wife doesn't have to work. These kinds of logical responses. But that's enough for me. I would love to
Oh,
hear
well,
perspective of you guys.
I'll definitely jump in there. I mean, so because there's a few things that you said. First of all, I think it's absolutely commendable just with how you're looking after your wife and your kid as well. And you'd sort of beaten me to saying that, in a way, as the role as the dad or as the father, being able to be essentially your daughter's rock and your wife's rock as well, to just try and keep that stability there even throughout all of the chaos. I think is absolutely amazing. And and I hope that at least people are patting you on the back or giving you whatever sort of support you need to commend that, because I think that's just absolutely amazing, with what you're doing there.
Thanks.
Even going back on what you mentioned about with purpose, as well. I am a big believer in guys having some kind of purpose, some sort of drive and motivation, to help them to have some kind of success in life. And for you, I mean, I can only imagine that drive with growing your YouTube channel and your business to support your wife and your daughter was a huge motivation, for you to succeed and just be able to show them, like, look what I've done. Look at how I've done this, to help support us as a family. And even just as like an accolade to be able to show off to people and say, look what hard work and determination can do if you put yourself out there and you keep trying and stuff. And I really do hope that it's bringing you all the business and success, that you deserve, to help you with you and your family as well. So I do. I think that's just absolutely amazing. And even with what I do with like doing like YouTube strategy stuff. So I mean, I've done, well, the amount of YouTube dating coaches businesses that I've built on the YouTube platform. This is kind of, this is like when you finally enter your adult stage in life, where now that you've passed 10,000 subs, now like life is really living for you, in a way. You'll find that you're going to have so many opportunities come your way now that you've actually hit 10,000 subs. So honestly, I really hope and wish you all the best with that. I hope it really takes off, and you'll find in no time at all that will probably double very, very quickly. There's something about when you hit 10,000, you start getting this snowball effect.
even at
Um,
4,000, it like all the opportunities started coming out of nowhere, which was kind of unexpected. I was like 20,000, I would probably expect that, but or maybe 50,000, 100,000, but 4,000 is where things were really taking off. So that
Yeah,
got
no,
kind of
I
crazy.
remember
But
with a few coaches. So like with Johnny, with Haley, with James Tusk as well at the time. Once everyone kind of got to that 5-digit number, there really was like this snowball effect, not just with like the views or with the subscribers, but certainly with the business, with the clientele as well. So yeah, I honestly I think that's absolutely amazing with what you're doing there. And then the other thing as well with what you were saying about with the professor and also with the purpose and the how did I don't know, did you say it was psycho what was the word? Psycho.
so I'm no psychological expert, but he is a professor of psychology, and he's in
I couldn't think what the word was that you said with two people.
psychiatric thing,
Yeah.
psychotherapy,
Okay.
Psychiatry feels like psychiatrist, was it?
psychiatry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you use the word about with guys if they need support from one another, they go out and they'll do like fishing and stuff. But you used like a really really cool word
Was it like shoulder
for
to
it.
shoulder or something?
Yeah, but you had like a real like it was a more like technical term for it. I can't think for the life of me what it was. It'll probably I'll
Oh,
be watching
damn.
it in the replay when you publish the video and be like, oh, that was it.
Well,
But I
you should
actually
see the full interview. It was very enlightening, very fascinating.
Yeah, honestly, like please do send it to me. I find this sort of like psycho social stuff in the industry absolutely fascinating, and certainly like dynamics of how human interaction works in general. But I actually completely agree with the guy, simply because my experiences of it has usually been like with, in fact, my best friend, who I actually also met through doing the pickup stuff and was my wing for years. He's had personal things going on in his life, especially issues that he's got with his girlfriend, which I'll leave out. But whenever he's had struggles with things, or even for me as well, whenever we've turned to each other for support, we actually will either go round each other's and sit on the PlayStation and just play like computer games for hours and, whatever kind of the game is, there's always some like goal or mission or level to complete and and we'll do the co-op for it and we'll just get lost in playing these games and a bit like I don't know if using an analogy of like
Mm.
like if our emotions were like a cloud or like the weather and it sort of comes along, you're in a bad mood and it's cloudy but
You get immersed in
time
it,
kind of yeah
essentially.
and that's what we would do when we'd play our games together. Like it was just an escape from reality, and in a way it was our way to just let out whatever frustration, anger, stress, anxiety that we had. And we didn't need to talk about anything. We just, as long as we were
Exactly.
like playing a game and sitting next to each other, or sometimes we'll do like the online because he doesn't live in London. He sort of lives outside of London, a bit much further away. Then we're still able to give that support to each other. But yeah, we don't always. I think guys don't realize they don't have to talk about their problems. They can just sit with someone else and talk about whatever, and that's absolutely fine. I think just having someone around you can be more than enough to, which maybe it sounds strange, but it can be more than enough to just help guys with whatever personal problems they've got.
Oh yeah, was it something along the lines of like there's an end result? So there's like fishing, you catch a fish maybe or something like that.
Yeah, or
So it's
there's
like
an element of mindfulness there, or just taking your mind off of the problem. Like, so like I've not done fishing, but I've known friends who've fished, and even if I were to imagine what it would be like to go fishing and just be sitting there, you've got pure silence all around you. If you're sitting by a lake where there's no cars driving by,
well, let
there's
me
no
tell you about
bustling
it. I
city.
did a few I did it in the summer, gringo summer. I'm in the southern hemisphere, so it's summer now, but northern hemisphere summer. a few months back. I was doing a little bit of fishing. I didn't catch a damn thing that time. Well, I did. It just fucking unhooked itself, motherfucker. I would have fucking eaten that thing. But anyway, I'll describe like what the landscape was like. I was in, I think it was Indian Falls, Nova Scotia, Canada, and it's like there's a river, there's like a little kind of dam, and river is flowing. You can swim in it, you can stand in it because it's relatively shallow in some parts, and lined with fucking trees. And there's a like platform from above, like next to the dam, and you could go be under downstream from where the dam is. And that's where the fishing spot really is. And then we got to see an eagle fly by, those kinds of things, and just like take out a floaty and just sit in it and make sure you don't disappear down the river or anything like that. But that's how it is. First time I went fishing, I caught 9 fish, and it was just this very fun experience. And then you get to actually like barbecue it later, take it home, and there's a kind of like satisfaction that just like how I just told you, I caught 9 fish. I was so fucking excited. First time I ever went fishing, caught 9 fish. That's an achievement right there. It's like they're the end result, the achievement. It's not even necessarily about the achievement, but the experience
Yeah.
can be enough in itself. And it was just the end result. You get to fill your stomach with something that you not necessarily created, but caught and achieved, something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
it
beautiful
almost
thing.
gamifies overcoming whatever your personal problems are. Like, in fact, let me ask you then, when you were fishing, how did it make you feel during those moments for each fish that you were catching? Because I mean, fish don't essentially give in
Well,
to being caught. As soon as you've caught them
I
on
caught four in
the
one
bait.
go. So I think I had like 4 hooks on one line, and then I got four, and or something like there were two on one hook. It was something ridiculous. I got photos of it in Google Photos, but I caught like 4 fish in one pull, so it was just like God damn, this is crazy kind of thing. But yeah, it's pretty satisfying. I'm not a big fisher or anything like that. I only done it a few times, and
Mm.
I didn't do it when I was younger. But it's a great thing. Like first time I went fishing, there was a fisher boat that was coming back to the bay, and there was a cat on the boat. And it was just funny. It was just like, what's this little kitten doing on the boat? It's just like the pet of the Fisher family that was on there. Some woman showing us her little fucking kitten. Oh, you must love fishing. It's just like cats are scared of water, but it's like the fact that it's on a boat is kind of funny.
But it creates a memory, and in fact,
Mm.
even like how you told that story, I mean, it's worth noting, how enthusiastic you were about it, how it's sort of made you smile as you're thinking about, that struggles with catching the fish and how you did it, and the build up to getting to
As
the lake,
opposed
and even how
to,
you left.
like so last night I pulled this bitch and I just fucking fisted her, and it was like so uninspired.
God, that's so
I'm not a
extreme.
great
Like, we've gone from
storyteller.
fishing to fisting. That was one extreme to the other there. But no, I
There's only a
agree.
1 letter difference.
That is true. That is true. That is true. But no, I mean, but I agree with that. That there really is something
Smells the
that
same.
gamifies it.
Smells the same.
Ugh. Ugh.
What the
You had
fuck?
to take it there. But no, I think though there really is an element of like you're creating either like a hyper focus or a tunnel vision away from any problems that you've got going on. And again, just having that support of someone with you as well, going on that gamified journey of overcoming a problem, which can also be kind of, I don't know if metaphorical is the right word, but there could be an element of catching that fish could be the equivalent of maybe a problem that you've got and how you've overcome that problem. With some of like the eye movement therapy that I've learned, it's interesting how the language that when people explain a problem that they've got, the language that they use with it and how everything in the description might have a meaning behind it as well. So catching a fish, bringing it back home might, and even just the struggle that you went through with catching the fish. I know we're using the analogy quite a bit here, but that there might be something that you could relate to where you also had a problem in your life that you needed to really like fight and struggle to overcome it, and you felt rewarded for doing that. So there is an element again of gamifying, overcoming your problems and hurdles that you've got, and there's something to be said when you're not doing it alone either. When you've got someone who's there and you just don't feel alone. Maybe not even just having the support, but it's about not feeling alone, going through something that you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts on this? We talked about quite a lot there.
No, I just want to, thank you for your story. It was, what can I say? It is like a very motivated story that you just told us and your current situation. So I really appreciate you sharing this with us for sure. And I have to say also, it was a great summarizing there as well when it comes to, summarizing what you just said as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it when we dissect piece by piece.
AI bot at the end is going to give a summary to this question: cancer, fishing, and fisting. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? ChatGPT? What's going on?
That's an impressive combination.
It's wild.
Very impressive combination.
Something I would like to say though, when it comes to like the hurdles the men have when it comes to this area, when it comes to dating and attracting women, I think in order to actually overcome it is number one is to learn the right strategies and mindsets. And as I said in the beginning, I don't believe that there is any secret techniques to do this. I believe that interpersonal communication skills, also known as social skills, is the way to go. Dating skills is just a fork of social skills. And if you get that right, and then now you're going to practice it, you're going to know the theory, and then you're going to practice it. There is a moment when you have to decide to be brave. You have to make a conscious decision to be courageous, and then start taking action to actually start talking with women you feel attracted to. That part most often struggle a lot of depression and men feeling down that is connected with that particular thing. If they can overcome that methodology and then actually go into action and using the right methods to actually getting results, your brain will automatically adapt to as an evidence that you're doing something great. And then you evolve. A lot of problems is disappearing. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of guys going to therapy without any real tools and strategies of how to actually solve the situation, only how to handle how they feel. And that is also a little bit wrong way to go about it when it comes to guys that feel like a failure because they can't attract and date women. So yeah, I hope it makes sense for you. I guess that you have the same experiences, but it's really first about doing it and then see how you feel after you get some results. Most of the time the problem disappears. I think for my clients, like 95% of my clients are cured after they're learning how to actually apply real conversational skills that is based on the academic faculty made into real practice, and then go and practice it. It's just a wonder for depression that have its roots on I can't attract women, I can't date women. That is how I see it. It's nothing much more than that, actually.